This is the Gloucester Sharpness Canal at Purton. It just looks like your average canal, but it's actually got a really interesting secret, and we are going in search of it. There's the canal with a big fence along. Do you want to know what that big fence is for? It's to keep people out, because this is the sluice gate, and if we turn this way, walk over here, you can see the River Severn. The tide is out, and that's why there's so much mud visible. Right, let's carry on. What on earth is a big lump of concrete in the shape of a boat doing here?
There's one there, and there's another there.
What's this all about? Tell us, Phil.
In 1909, the bank in here almost disappeared. The tide rose and it took a huge section away. And if you just look there, how close the canal is and how close the river is, the two actually came so close they thought the canal was going to be lost. And all the water was going to rush out and it was going to be destroyed. They needed a quick and good solution, so they brought that night, they sent for 3 boats and they scuppered them here, they beached them, allowed them to fill with silt, and they continued doing that and eventually had over 80 boats along this graveyard.
Now, I was baffled when I heard concrete boats. I thought, well, that's silly, you can't make a boat out of concrete. But apparently it's from in the First World War, when there was a shortage of wood. And so the only option was to come up with another material, and they came up with concrete. So there you go, concrete boats. Who'd have thought it? So there's one there, and one down here. Look at this. We're now stepping onto a concrete boat. I never thought that would be something I would ever be saying. There's a hole here, but I don't think it goes down very far. Hold tight, I'll pop you in and see what you can see. Wow, look down there, you can see the boat hull.
And you can see why it's here. See the erosion there? Can you imagine if these lumps of concrete weren't here and the tide was just washing in there, this would just be gone.
Yep, and it's not very far to the canal there.
That's right, that post there, that white post, is actually on the edge of the canal. What are we talking, 30 metres?
Yep. But this is amazing. Let's go and have a look. Some grass is growing on the top of the boat, and there's a path worn, so we'll go and have a look.
I was going to say, as we've said in so many of these places, nature has a way of just finding how to take back everything. And here it is on a concrete boat. We've got this lovely, almost meadow, isn't it?
It is, it's lovely with a well-worn path, so obviously lots of people come here, and what do you know, people have left their rubbish behind. This is quite a wonderful thing to do. It's not the sort of thing that you would normally do with your day, and not the sort of thing you would even think to do, is to walk on a concrete boat, but I am. It's quite an experience. Look at this. This is the part they use to steer the rudder. Not sure what that name is. And if we look over there, there's the metal rudder. It's a whopper. And there you can see the mud of the River Severn. That is treacherous. I really wouldn't want to go out in that.
No. We ain't mudlarking today, not in that.
No mudlarking for us. You can see the rudder on the point of that one there.
It's lost the bar, look. See,
oh yes, they don't have the bar.
There's the upright, exactly the same connection, look.
Yep.
The first day, they brought 3. Over the next 50 odd years, they brought over 80 ships here. Or boats, whatever you want to call them. They had schooners, barges, and something called a trow, which I'd never heard of before, but when I looked it up, that was a popular boat on these rivers because the mast would hinge down to go underneath the bridges as they travelled along. Incredible, simple, effective, There are only about 30 visible now because the other 50 are doing their job. They have sunk into the ground, they are filled with silt, they've become the banking that is all around us.
As we walk along, we keep seeing these plaques. It seems like an odd plaque in the middle of the grass, but ultimately it's there to tell us that underneath this part of the land is the Mary Ann. And there's another one there, and everywhere you look there are little plaques saying that another barge has been sunk and has turned back into just being this little part of land. This barge, which I can see is the FCB 75 according to the plaque, seems to have actually been rammed into the side and driven up over the edge. Can you see the angle it's at? There are still quite a few bits and pieces on this one, but we can't go and explore this one because they have erected a fence to keep us off.
And when they brought it in, this would have been the banking.
I suppose
see how
so,
the ground
yes.
now is built up by
silt gathering
against it. It is such a simple yet powerfully effective plan. They got it done that day, literally, and 110 years later we are walking on ground that was never here. The canal is being used by so many people, and it's all possible because someone said, I've got an idea.
Oh.
What if we try this?
What a clever idea. That says on the HMS Montego. Now, it could be the HMS Montego, and they've written on because there are a group of people called the Friends of Purton Boats, or the Friends of Purton Barges, and they are looking after these now, making sure that they last for as long as possible. They are eventually going to collapse and rot away, but they're trying to keep them so that we can all come and enjoy them. So it could well mean that they've decided to put the proper name on that boat. If you look there, right in the distance, there are 2 or 3 in the middle of the water. I wouldn't have thought they get many problems with people climbing on those, because if they did, the people would drown in the mud. If you look at the edge there, quite a way in then is another one of these signs. This is for the Orby ex-island maid, who is underneath the ground here. There's something sticking up here. Now, this would have been a wooden boat, which is very different to the concrete ones that we've seen. You can still see some wood left and some metal, but there's not a lot left. Let's go have a wander down, see what we can see. Now there are a few boats here, because this... Do you think that's the front of one and that's the back that has snapped off, or are they 2 separate boats? Let's go have a closer look at this wood.
I can tell you it was 68.4 feet long, and it was 12.6 feet wide, and it was built in the 1890s. It was beached here on the 17th of January 1946, year after World War II ended. They beached us. In fact, just 3 months after. It is absolutely amazing. In fact, it is quite humbling for me as a craftsman, a fitter, someone who worked in the mines, to stand here and look at this. I know it looks a wreck, but this boat was built by someone. Someone drove these nails into the wood, and it went to sea for over 60 years, and it's been here for the last 60 years. And yet it is still doing a fantastic job, and I think it is a credit to the craftsmanship of those who've gone before us. It's phenomenal. I'm almost speechless, and I'm very rarely speechless, as you know, but I'm almost speechless. It is a very a very beautiful experience, and I feel a beautiful thing.
Oh, look, the poor Britannia was driven up here, put on the side to do its job, and now all's left is this little tufty bit of wood. It was originally 72 foot 4 long and 14 foot 4 wide, 4 foot 1 deep, and all that's left is that.
And it's been here 75 years.
Well, I suppose if I'd been here 75 years, I'd look a bit like that too.
But of course, that beneath here, there is a skeleton of that boat that's holding all of this ground in place. This is here because that is here.
That little piece of metal there is all that's left of the Catherine Ellen and Hyger or Hygre. It does have that little wooden post there and nothing else to see. On the other hand, look at the size on that. Let's go and have a look around that one. There's this piece of metal in the ground here. Doesn't look like much, a little bit of wood on it, but if you can imagine, there should be boat all along here leading up to the other part of the boat over there. It's a huge boat that has rotted away in the middle, but lots of timber and old nails are still intact. There's a rudder. It's bigger than me. Wow, there's the boat. You can see the border of the hull. You can't see much inside. There is a crossbar a bit further along. Sorry if this is a bit bumpy, this grass, as you can see, is very uneven. But I just can't resist the urge to get closer, have a good look. I love all these old nails. Can you imagine how many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of old nails are in this area falling out of the ships? I really wouldn't want to do metal detecting here. Can you imagine just how often your metal detector is going to go off? Here you can see the very thick wooden downposts, whatever you'd like to call them, of the hull of the boat with the planks going across. If we look here, some of the original dowel is still in place here. They've used them quite often, but also more modern boats. Perhaps they're more modern, perhaps they're not. But they make a nice contrast. You can see a nut there on a boat and something pointy. I don't think that's the technical term. As we walk along, you can see just the extent of the rot here. This boat is not going to be here for many more decades. So it's lovely to know that when people photograph and video these items, that it just keeps them there for eternity, for everyone to see, even though they are long gone in actual reality. Here you can see the dowels are gone, the wood is rotting away.
What's the metal spike in the floor like?
There's the other half of the boat with lots of pieces already missing, and you have to be so careful because as we walk along here you can see there is a spike sticking up from the boat somewhere. So there's probably a lot of interesting bits and pieces underneath our feet.
This was put here in 1962, one of the later ones to come in. But if you just look inside,
Ooh.
you can see just how effective it is. Look, you can see the silt that is filled.
Right, hold on, hold tight, here we go. You're going over.
See where the silt has just filled this entire vessel.
Mm.
And obviously gathered around it as well. And formed this land mass. It's incredible.
Now, do you want to go in and have a look? I know you do. Now hold tight, because I'm going to have to turn the camera upside down, but I will turn you back the right way on screen. Here we go. Woo.
This one with the fence, it's been enclosed because this is the Harriet. One of the last to be beached, but one of the most significant for its design. And therefore it is now an ancient monument as scheduled by English Heritage. And here it is. We've come here on the hottest day on record for the UK. They're expecting 39 degrees in London, and it's 11:30 and it's already up to 30 here on the side of the river. It is amazing. When I think of all the weather that has worn these boats during their service and as they served us here, it's incredible to just be a part of this. But this is not about boats. I've got to be honest, I'm not a big boat enthusiast. I'm not mad about marines and such like. What I'm really touched by today is human ingenuity. Not just that these were built by people, but that people thought to put them here. And when people and nature work together, incredible things happen. Because whereas the border to the canal was once just there, a matter of feet away, now it's right out there. All of this has been done, man and nature working together, and that will always impress me. And another thought I had was, we think we are the generation that learned about recycling. Well, after this video, think again. If you've enjoyed this video, then please, why not subscribe and come on further adventures with us as we discover other interesting places and wonderful things. But until then, all the best and bye.